Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we talk about 3 or 4 interesting tech topics in the news. Did you know your car is spying on you? And then we'll get a chance to wrap up with all sorts of fun stuff. If you have a story you want us to cover, Creation Station at broward.org comes right to me. Today, I've got Anthony from our Pembroke Pines Walter C. Young Middle School Library / everything out there. How are you doing, Anthony?
Hi, Bob. I'm doing great today. How are you?
I'm doing good. So explain to people who are not in Broward what in the heck your place is.
So we have it's a public library, but it's on the same campus as a large middle school. And additionally, it's just a couple blocks away from a really large high school and 2 elementary schools. So after school, we get a lot of kids that come over and visit us and enjoy the library.
Yeah, I have seen the pictures of it's a contest, you and Southwest Regional, about who gets more people packed in that lobby at once after school lets out. It's insane. And you're open before school's open too, so kids can come in and do whatever they need just before they jump into the school. So
That's
yeah.
right. And they do.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a crazy place out there. So it's one of the fun co-libraries that we have. We have several of them around the library system. So if you're down in Broward, you got to come take a look out there. It's fun. It's a very pretty library. You guys have some really nice art in there. But
Right.
we have some other cool things that have happened. And hooray, Google is 25. Kind of weird to think. You kind of think like, oh, it couldn't have been around that long, or maybe hey, they've been around forever. It's only been 25 years. But I liked this article that I found on what the top searches in Google search, because this is not Google as a company. Google as a company was around a little bit longer. Google as the concept in Chrome and everything that you use now, that's a different birthday kind of thing going on. They are way and beyond the most popular search engine now, as you probably had guessed, 92%. And Bing and MSN are the only two real competitors to them. There's some other, as they call it there, but it's not even, 8% for MSN, Bing, and other. But these were fun. Looking back in the time, huh, Anthony?
Yeah, it says a lot just by taking a quick look at that Google year in search,
Yeah.
just switching the year and browsing through that. It makes you say, "Oh, that's right," a lot.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
What now? Any of these stand out to you?
Definitely the last few years I mean, it's it's interesting how some things are unexpected and you kind of are not sure exactly why that was, trend to
Mm-hmm.
use search. And then you dig a little bit deeper and maybe you can remember why, but like off the bat, you may be like, "Oh, why was that again?"
Yeah.
And other things are just really obvious.
Yeah, and the good thing about this is it's the global searches. This is not just the United States. So especially on some of these, you really get like a 2014 here with the Brazil World Cup, or let's find out several of the cricket 2019. Two of the top 5 are cricket searches, looking for specific matches in cricket. Another in 2021, same thing. And unless you're counting that cricket as the same searches, there's only one person who made this list more than once. Britney Spears
Congratulations,
made
Brittany.
the list 4 different times.
You did it.
I'm like, it's just crazy. I was like, unfortunately, most of these things tend to be like when someone dies. So these people come up, or they're horrible disasters. But it's just, there's some of them I had to go look up. Meta Cafe Do you even remember that company from 2006?
Wasn't Meta Cafe? Oh no, I'm thinking of a company that printed things, like printed digital images onto real products.
No, that was a Shutterfly. They're
Okay,
still in business. Um, Bebo as a company, which doesn't exist anymore. 20 as a business, which doesn't exist anymore. All these things just have come and gone and disappeared. Google Plus. This was the one though that made me laugh when I saw this article. I'm like, okay, I got to put this in here. 2011, the number one most searched thing on the planet was Rebecca Black for her song Friday.
wow.
Well, it's weird. Yeah, it's a crazy idea. But as always, all of our things are in the show notes for you, so you can go and find your own favorite quirky topic in here and see exactly what you like. But this leads us to our other article that was a really fun thing because it's the opposite of what you usually hear about the internet. Of, oh, the internet's bad for young people, and oh, these, we're giving kids these bad images and these bad feelings. And it turns out that for older people, 50 and older, if you use the internet for 6 minutes to 2 hours a day, you cut your risk of dementia in half.
That is very interesting,
Yeah.
indeed.
I mean, what wouldn't you do if you could automatically know this health benefit 50% of the time? I'm going to cut my risk of it by 50%. Of course, you're going to do it.
And you know what else I noticed about this too? I clicked on right there where it says Journal of the American
Yep.
Geriatric Society, and I scrolled straight to the bottom for the disclaimers. I always go
Oh,
straight
yeah,
to
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
bottom
yeah.
to see if there's any funny business going on.
Yep.
And no
Nothing.
conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
very interesting stuff.
Anthony makes a great point for us too that I didn't say. We always give you the link to the direct article too. Here's a cool article talking about it, but we've got the link to the study in the show notes for you. You can go read the full abstract of the study and the whole thing if you want. But yeah, I mean, it's such a short amount of time. Now, true, this is not get on the internet and watch YouTube for 6 hours. That's not going to help you stave off dementia. It's interacting on the internet. So it's looking at something, reading an article, finding something out there that's interesting to you. It could be watching a video, but it's not just mindlessly sitting in front of a television watching TV. Same thing. Sitting in front of YouTube and just mindlessly watching it all day long, not going to help you.
That's right. They specifically said they asked if they used these adults, if they use the internet for sending and receiving emails, or for making purchases, for searching for information, or making travel reservations.
Yep. And this is a long-term study. So this is not something that's a little flash in the pan that just in the last 2 years. They started this in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
So almost as old as Google. And so they went through and really did this and found, and this is people who did not already have dementia, their delay in getting it, and they did not continue people in the study who did pick up dementia later on. So it was it's a really well done study, good research, and it's got that really interesting tweak to it. It's like all it takes is 6 minutes a day.
I had one really big question pop out at me when after I read the article, and I was wondering how, if at all, the different ways that different generations use the internet maybe could be a factor here.
Maybe.
And if so, what are the activities that are most protective against dementia, for example? That's room for more study there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know there's the studies about things like, crossword puzzles, Sudoku, those kinds of things. If doing those are good for you to keep your brain stimulated. role-playing games are coming, now that they've been out for so long, that some of that stuff is creeping into studies now of being creative and writing. Writing has always been at the top of things to do with that, which is why I think, like you mentioned, the emails and such, I think that's one of the reasons it keeps. You have to keep sharp, or it helps you keep sharp more appropriately to be writing those emails and doing stuff. So
Yeah, use it or lose it.
yeah, there you go. It's a great way of doing it. Speaking of losing it, we're almost out of summer. At least around here, South Florida, it's not. As a friend said today, I can go outside and I'm not. So that means summer's over for us. We're creeping into fall now. Your devices, your gear, it has been feeling this summer too. Trust me. Have you noticed this with your phone or tablets or anything, Anthony?
I can't say that I've noticed it, but I have heard of this before. So I am very careful about never leaving electronics in the car, although, the car is loaded with its own electronics too. But, one of the things I'm most careful with is my phone, for example. And it talks about how if you leave your phone, or if your phone gets too hot, either from use or from being left in an environment where it gets too hot, it can have a serious impact on your device.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I do events outside, over the summer. We've got the submarine, we've got the other things we go out and do. And I've had my phone shut down on me and just like, nope, it's too hot. I'm closing. Because once it gets up into that 90-degree range, 90-degree in the feels like, not the actual temperature, just your feels like temperature, then you start really doing it. And like you said, part of it is your phone here has no fans on it. There's nothing for it to be able to dissipate the heat other than just the little bit of chemical imbalance that they do in your battery to dissipate. And beyond that, it just has to radiate the heat off of the device out of that metal and glass. And then if it's too hot, it doesn't get off. It just is stuck and trapped around there, which, by the way, if you've got a phone case, you've just made it harder for the heat to get out of your.
Closed it in. Yep.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, do I keep the phone in the case and protect it from dropping on the cement, or do I take it out and maybe get a few more half hour on the device? I'm kind of torn on it.
Another thing that came to mind, they don't mention it in the article, but talking about materials research and energy research, I have recently read a little bit about maybe how AI can play a factor in this going forward. So
tell me,
just in general, that, for example, take AlphaFold, for example, which for those who are not familiar, DeepMind created this thing called AlphaFold, which can predict how protein structures. So in a similar fashion, they can maybe use AI to develop new and improved materials for building technological devices, or for building new types of batteries, for example, energy sources.
Yeah, it's every time anybody asks me, "Oh, I thought we were going to get this." Well, the future's coming. It's just batteries that are holding us back. We've got just about everything else. If we just had better batteries, we could do all those cool future things. But one of the ideas in this article that I wanted to point out too was the heat affects, as you mentioned earlier, Anthony, cars, airplanes. And it's not even so much that because of the excessive heat, your car feels hotter inside, which obviously it does. And that affects your tires and your oil. And if you've on a traditional car, I mean, I drive an electric, so just my tires are a mess sometimes. But airplanes can't take off because if the air gets too hot, that means the air is thinning out. And so there's not enough air pressure for the plane to actually push against for it to take off. And I was like, I've heard about the airports shutting down in extreme heat, but I kind of thought it was because it was too dangerous for the tires or the rubber on the road, on the tarmac or something like that. So,
there's a cascading effect.
Yeah.
One thing if it gets hot, it affects this other thing, which then therefore affects this other thing, and etc. And you can find chains of relationships between things that get affected. That's a really interesting point.
It is a crazy way of tracking everything. And how this article's main takeaway is use less electricity during the day and use it at night. Like, use your air conditioners at night instead of the day to help protect it from overuse from the materials and such like that. So take a look at their suggestions, see if it's something that fits into your house, fits into your idea. Heat pumps are a big thing that they're talking about. Now we got one more story to talk about, Anthony. So, do you drive a car? So Mozilla, the company that puts together Firefox, Thunderbird, they've got a lot of different products that they produce. One of the things they produce actually is called Privacy Not Included. It is from their nonprofit, and it goes through and it rates things on what the various categories are that they are for protecting a person's privacy, what they ask for, what they don't ask for, but take anyway and such. They decided to turn their attention to cars. And for the very first time in a category, every single product failed.
It's remarkable.
92% of the automakers don't even give you any control over it.
Yep. And they also said that about 76% of automakers claim the right to sell your personal, not just collect it, and turn around and sell it.
Oh, by the way, we're going to collect all your data. And I know somebody out there is like, okay, wait, what can my car know about me? Well, Anthony and I were talking about this just before the show. And I'm like, yeah, and your healthcare information. And kind of like, well, wait, what kind of healthcare information? Your car, the electronics in your car know how much it weighs because you've got an electronic suspension in there. Once you sit down in your car, it knows exactly how much you weigh as a person. Based on who the driver is, where it is, it can even redistribute the weight and everything. So it's tracking your weight on you and giving this to Toyota or Ford, Tesla, etc. Well, I'm going to show you this chart in a minute, but it's just insane, the stuff. And then now, if you've seen this article out there, because it's a really cool, expose on how horrible tech is. Some of the stuff in those other stories out there is a little misleading. I did not include the story about how it's tracking your sex and your genetics. Your car isn't tracking your sex or your genetics. It's just that if they ever figure out a way to do it, it's in the terms of agreement that they can track it and sell it.
Yeah, just your behavior alone.
Yeah.
It tracks your behavior, your whereabouts. I mean, your car has a GPS. There you go.
Yep.
And your driving habits,
Yeah.
Just there's all kinds of things that it can glean from that.
Yeah, it's just craziness. So 25 out of 25 collect. This is manufacturers. This is not by model. This is like every car that they make. So this is literally millions of models of physical vehicles out on the roads right now. 84% sell your data or share it. 92 don't give you any control over it. And zero could be confirmed whether they meet even the very basic minimum safety standards for privacy, for concerns and stuff like that. Last year, you may remember this same organization did a big thing on online therapy apps and what they were tracking and who they were doing. Even then, some of those apps still passed minimum standards of keeping your privacy. No car manufacturer is even close to matching it.
Which makes me wonder, if that's the case, is it because they're just not experiencing enough pressure from the consumer community to protect their privacy?
Yeah, exactly. And that might very well be that when an article like this comes out, now all of a sudden, hey, wait, we're going to start paying attention to this. But I mean, let's look at the worst offenders here. I mean, Volkswagen, Lexus, Toyota, Ford, Lincoln, Audi, Mercedes-Benz, Honda, Acura, Kia, Chevy,
It's a lot of X's.
Buick. Yeah. GMC, Cadillac, Hyundai, Nissan, and then the worst offender of all is Tesla,
Yeah.
because Tesla collects even more data about you when you're trying to use their self-driving. I'm just like, wow. Again, link in the show notes for you to go read the full report so you know exactly what is being tracked on you by which manufacturer. Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, what do
And
you do?
Yeah,
you got to drive.
That's the question. What do you do? What can we do? And I haven't dug in yet to see if there's anything we can do, after the fact, after, here we are. But
Take the bus.
Wonder, what can I take the bus?
Hey, we're not tracking. Broward County Transit's not tracking you. Come take the bus. You don't have to take a car.
There you go.
I have no idea. Thank you so much for being here today, Anthony. This was a very fun show with all the critical things. But yeah, it was a good time. And you guys, let me pull up for you. Let me share that real quickly. I know you just did the bilingual story time out there, and you have a lot of other story times and classes coming up in English Cafe. And there was one I wanted to ask you, Sticker Hour. Tell me about this one.
Oh, this is going to be craft for adults using stickers. So it's basically, think of paint by color, but it's going to be like, imagine just like a myriad of stickers on a sheet, and then you go and you piece them all together and the image emerges.
Awesome.
Yep.
That'll be a very fun thing. Like a group activity for people to do. That's nice.
So it's like relaxing. You get to focus and chill and piece together your work of art.
See? Not going to promise you it's going to stop dementia, but it can't hurt.
And it'll be fun.
Yeah. If there is a librarian or library you'd like to see featured on the show one week, creationstation@broward.org. Have a great week, everybody.